Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into something, kind of summary.
Always up for a good deep dive. What's on the agenda today?
Well, we're tackling tanning this time, how to get that perfect sun-kissed look. And we're taking inspiration from, get this, a YouTuber, your bro Brandon.
Interesting. I'm not super familiar with him, gotta be honest.
Yeah, so he's got this whole fitness, fashion, lifestyle thing going on, and he actually did a video called 7 Secrets to Achieve a Tan Fast.
7 secrets, huh? Sounds a little clickbaity, but hey, I'm intrigued.
Right. So our mission today is to kind of break down his advice, see what the science says about it, and help you figure out what's actually safe and effective.
Love that. Combining practicality with, actual facts, always a good combo.
Exactly. So your bro Brandon's first tip is all about prepping your skin. He's a big believer in exfoliating the night before you tan. His reasoning is that by getting rid of all those dead skin cells, you're giving yourself a fresh, smooth surface for the tan to develop on.
Makes sense to me. It's like if you're painting a wall, you wouldn't want to do it on a rough, uneven surface, right? You'd prep it first to make sure the paint goes on smoothly. Same idea with tanning.
So exfoliation is basically like priming your skin for maximum tan absorption.
Pretty much. It helps to create a more even canvas, which can lead to a more uniform tan and prevent those patchy spots. Definitely a good first step.
Okay, so exfoliation, check. But then your bro Brandon throws in something that might raise a few eyebrows in the skincare world. He recommends using SPF 30 lotion and, get this, reapplying it every 80 minutes, especially after swimming or sweating. Isn't that like super cautious?
Well, sunscreen is definitely non-negotiable when it comes to tanning, that's for sure. No question about it. And your pro, Brandon, is right to emphasize that. Now, SPF 30 is a good choice because it blocks about 97% of those harmful UVB rays, the ones that cause sunburn. But the thing about sunscreen is that it needs to be reapplied frequently, especially if you're sweating or swimming. So 80 minutes might actually be a good guideline, especially if you're really active in the sun.
Makes you wonder if maybe most of us aren't reapplying often enough, right?
Could be. It's easy to forget about reapplying when you're having fun in the sun, but trust me, it's worth the effort to avoid a nasty sunburn.
Got it. SPF 30 and reapply, reapply, reapply. Now, here's where your bro Brandon's advice gets a little bit interesting, shall we say. He's a big fan of tanning near water, specifically pools or the beach. His logic is that the water reflects sunlight, which actually intensifies your tan. He even suggests using an inflatable pool if you don't have access to a real one. So is there any scientific basis for that, or is this just like a bro science theory?
He's not completely wrong about the reflection part. Water does act like a mirror, bouncing those UV rays back at you. So yeah, you are essentially getting hit with sunlight from multiple angles when you're near water, and that can definitely speed up the tanning process.
So water reflection, legit.
Yeah, it's legit, but, and this is a big but, that increased exposure also means you're more likely to burn. So if you're going to try this whole water reflection thing, you got to be super diligent about sunscreen, like really, really diligent.
So it's a high risk, high reward kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay, duly noted. Let's move on to your bro Brandon's next tip, which is all about keeping things moving. He recommends shifting positions or flipping over every 30 to 60 minutes to ensure an even tan. That seems pretty straightforward, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Even exposure is key to avoiding those awkward tan lines, for sure. But even if you're flipping like a pancake, you're still accumulating UV exposure over time.
So the sunscreen mantra still applies, even if you're doing the tanning tango, I guess we could call it.
Absolutely. Never underestimate the power of a good sunscreen.
Okay, we've covered exfoliation, SPF, and the water reflection strategy. What about the internal stuff? Your bro Brandon is a huge advocate for drinking tons of water, not just for general health, but he actually believes it helps you tan faster. Is there any truth to that?
Okay, so staying hydrated is super important, especially when you're out in the sun, no doubt about that. But the idea that guzzling water will make you tan faster is a bit of a stretch.
Ah, so no magic tanning potion?
Not quite, no. But there is like a tiny bit of truth to it. Think about it this way. When your skin is hydrated, it plumps up, smooths out. So that means the surface is more even, which in theory could allow for a slightly more uniform tan.
Gotcha. It's not that water directly makes you tan faster, but it kind of preps your skin for a more even application.
Exactly. Like imagine trying to paint on a dry, cracked surface versus one that's smooth and prepped. The end result is going to be way better on the smooth surface.
Makes sense. Okay, next up is a tip that I know a lot of people are curious about, shaving. Your Brandon suggests that shaving body hair can lead to a more even tan. Though he does admit he doesn't actually do it himself. What's the verdict on that one?
Honestly, shaving for the sole purpose of tanning is kind of a myth. Body hair actually provides a little bit of natural sun protection, although it's pretty minimal. Smooth skin might feel nice, but it's not going to drastically change your tan.
So it's really just a personal preference thing.
Exactly. If you prefer a hairless look, go for it, but don't expect it to, magically transform your tan.
Good to know. Now let's talk about post-tan care. Your bro Brandon is all about moisturizing to make that tan last as long as possible. Morning and night, he says. What makes moisturizing so crucial in this whole process?
Well, a couple reasons, actually. First, it helps keep your skin hydrated, which, we already know is good for overall skin health. But more importantly, it actually slows down the process of skin cell turnover.
So it's like hitting the pause button on exfoliation.
Kind of, yeah. When you moisturize, you're helping to keep those tan skin cells around for a little bit longer, which can make your tan look more vibrant and prevent it from fading as quickly.
So moisturize, moisturize, moisturize to hold on to that golden glow.
Basically. And it's a good idea to look for moisturizers specifically designed for after-sun care. They often have ingredients that help soothe and repair skin that's been exposed to the sun.
Okay, so we've gone through all of your bro Brandon's 7 tips, from exfoliating to moisturizing. But the real question is, did this method actually work for him?
Well, in his video, he shows off his tan after just 2 days of following his own advice. And it's definitely noticeable. He does mention, though, that everyone's skin is different, so his results might not be typical.
Right, right. Some people just tan way more easily than others. Let's switch gears a bit here and address the big question. Is tanning even good for you? We've all heard about the risks of skin cancer, premature aging.
Totally, yeah. Prolonged, unprotected sun exposure is definitely harmful. Can't stress that enough. But there's a flip side to this whole thing. Moderate sun exposure is actually how our bodies produce vitamin D, which is super important for bone health, immune function, even mood regulation.
So it's all about finding that balance, right? Getting enough sun to reap the benefits, but not so much that we put our skin at risk. How do we find that sweet spot?
It's kind of a combo of factors. Your skin type plays a huge role. People with fairer skin are more susceptible to sun damage, so they got to be extra careful. Family history is also important. If you've got a family history of skin cancer, you're at a higher risk.
Yeah.
And even your geographical location matters. People who live closer to the equator, they get way more intense sunlight.
Okay, so knowing your skin type, family history, and where you live can help you figure out your own personal sun tolerance. But let's say you're doing everything right, wearing sunscreen, limiting exposure, all that good stuff, and you're still not seeing that sun-kissed glow you're hoping for. What are your options then?
Well, you could always explore the world of sunless tanning. There are lotions, sprays, even professional treatments that can give you a tan without any UV exposure.
Ooh, fake bake time. But are those actually safe?
Generally speaking, yes. Most sunless tanners use this color additive called dihydroxyacetone, or DHA for short. It reacts with the amino acids in your skin's outer layer to create a temporary brown color. Pretty safe process overall, although some people can experience, mild irritation or allergies.
So always a good idea to do a little patch test before you slather it all over, just in case.
Definitely a smart move. And even with sunless tanners, exfoliating beforehand can help ensure an even application and avoid those dreaded streaks.
Yeah, streaks are the enemy of a good pan, real or fake. But let's be honest, sometimes we just crave that natural sun-kissed glow, even with all the risks. What advice would you give to those of us who can't resist the allure of the sun?
Start slow and listen to your skin. Don't try to go from pale to bronze in one sitting, Gradual exposure is key. Remember, a tan is basically your skin's way of protecting itself from damage, so give it time to build up that defense mechanism.
Patience is a virtue, even when it comes to tanning, huh?
Exactly. And I cannot stress this enough. SKF is your BFF. Reapply every 2 hours, even on cloudy days. And pay attention to those early warning signs of a sunburn, redness, tenderness, that telltale warm sensation.
And if you do get a sunburn, treat it with TLC. Cool compresses, soothing lotions, lots of hydration. Those are your go-to remedies.
Exactly. And please, please avoid those old wives' tales about using butter or vinegar on a sunburn. Stick to gentle, hydrating products.
No kitchen concoctions on sunburns. Got it.
Good. And one more thing. Be mindful of the time of day. The sun's rays are strongest between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. So if you can, try to limit your exposure during those peak hours.
So morning and evening sun are the way to go if you want to minimize the risks.
Precisely. We've talked a lot about the risks of tanning, but I think it's important to remember that for a lot of people, tanning is about more than just, how it looks. It's about feeling good, feeling confident, embracing that summer vibe.
Absolutely. There's just something about that sun-kissed feeling. It can be a real mood booster.
Exactly. And if you can achieve that feeling while also taking care of your skin's health, well, that's the ideal scenario.
Well said. We've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive. From your brand's somewhat unique tips to the science of tanning, the risks, the benefits, even the alternatives. And we've talked about how important it is to be sun safe, know your skin type, and really pay attention to what your body's telling you. All right, so we're back and ready to ready to dig into some more of your bro Brandon's tanning tips. What else does he have up his sleeve?
Well, let's see. We left off talking about sunless tanners, remember? The lotions and sprays and all that.
Right, right. Like if you want to skip the sun but still get that bronzed look.
Exactly. So one of the questions we got from listeners was about diet and tanning. Someone was asking if eating certain foods can actually make you tan faster.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that too. Like eating carrots or something.
Right. It's a pretty common myth, but there is a tiny bit of truth to it. Foods that are rich in beta-carotene, like carrots, sweet potatoes, and those leafy greens, they can actually give your skin a slightly orange-ish tint.
So it's not really a tan, more like a color change from what you're eating.
Pretty much, yeah. Beta-carotene is a pigment that our body converts to vitamin A, which is, important for skin health, but loading up on carrots won't give you the same results as actually being out in the sun. It's more about enhancing your natural skin tone.
So eat your veggies for good health and a little extra glow, but don't ditch the sunscreen if you're planning to be outside.
Exactly. Okay, next question's a little bit more technical. Someone asked about the difference between UVA and UVB rays and why it even matters.
Yeah, good question. I know they're both bad for you, but I'm not sure I could explain the difference.
Right, so it's important to know the difference because they both damage your skin, but in kind of different ways. Think of UVA rays as the aging rays. They can penetrate deeper into your skin, and they're the main culprits behind wrinkles, fine lines, and age spots. UVB rays, on the other hand, those are the burning rays. They're the ones that cause sunburns, and they play a bigger role in skin cancer.
Okay, so UVA ages, UVB burns.
Yeah.
Got it. But how do we protect ourselves from both of them?
That's where broad-spectrum sunscreen comes in. You want to make sure your sunscreen specifically says broad-spectrum on the label, because that means it protects you from both types of those harmful rays.
Broad spectrum. Got it. Okay, what's next?
All right, this one's kind of relatable. Someone wrote in saying they got a little too much sun, and now their tan is darker than they wanted. Any tips for fading it faster?
Ooh, the tan regret. Been there.
Yeah, it happens. The best thing you can do is to gently exfoliate. That can help speed up the natural shedding process. You can also use a moisturizer with ingredients like aloe vera or vitamin E to soothe and hydrate your skin.
So scrub away the excess and pamper your skin back to its happy place.
Pretty much. And remember, patience is key here. It takes time for a tan to fade naturally.
Okay, last question before we wrap things up. This listener asks, I have a darker skin tone. Do I still need to wear sunscreen?
Absolutely, yes. Well, it's true that people with darker skin tones have more melanin, which provides some natural protection. They're still at risk for sun damage and skin cancer.
So sunscreen is for everyone, no matter your skin tone.
Exactly. In fact, studies have actually shown that skin cancer can be more deadly in people with darker skin tones because it's often detected at a later stage. So yeah, it's super important to be vigilant about sun protection, no matter your skin color.
Wow, I had no idea. That's definitely something to keep in mind. All right, well, that brings us to the end of our tanning deep dive.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground, from exfoliation and SPF to the difference between those UVA and UVB rays. We even touched on the role of diet a little bit. Hopefully you all are feeling a little more informed about how to tan safely and effectively.
Absolutely. And remember, the most important thing is to feel good in your own skin. Whether you tan or not, healthy skin is beautiful skin.
Well said. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of tanning. Until next time, stay curious and stay sun safe.
All right, we're back, ready to wrap up this tanning deep dive.
Definitely. We talked about a lot in the first couple parts, but I'm thinking we should spend some time addressing some listener questions.
Oh, yeah, good idea. People always have such great insights and follow-up questions. What do we have?
Okay, so this first one is kind of interesting. It's about those tanning oils, the ones that claim to accelerate your tan.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those. Do they actually work?
Well, some of them do